students, welcome back to online class. Uh, Already I have taught about this 4 lessons about lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, isn't it? So today I'm going to teach biosphere. Okay. So already I have taught about lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere. You all have, I am thinking, so you have learned thoroughly. Last class also I have given this 4th lesson question answers, isn't it? So please study well. Today we can learn about biosphere. So what do you mean by this biosphere? Biosphere is the sphere where life exists, isn't it? So this is the 4th sphere of the earth. So biosphere is the 4th sphere of the earth. So what are the objectives of this biosphere? The scope and meaning of the biosphere and ecosystem, its components, functions and biodiversities, and about the major biomes of the world, and to know about the need for the conservation of biomes. First one, introduction. What do you know about this biosphere? Okay, there is one question also. What is biosphere? Biosphere means what? It is the 4th sphere of the earth. We all know, isn't it? Here only life exists. So biosphere is the 4th sphere of the earth, is a life supporting layer that exists on the earth's surface. This layer on earth encompasses the lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. So listen, biosphere is the 4th sphere of the earth where life exists, and also in this layer only we contain lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. And also in this biosphere it includes flora and fauna, plants and animals. Okay. So the vertical range of the biosphere is approximately 20 km, which is measured from the ocean floor to the troposphere. So below one picture, from this picture you can understand clearly. So the vertical range of the biosphere is approximately 20 km from the ocean floor to the troposphere. So however, most plants and animals live in a very narrow section for about 1 km above and below the mean sea level, MSL. So how much kilometer only the plants and animals are living? Mostly 1 km. So this biosphere is made up of different ecosystem and biomes. Okay, you all know ecosystem, living beings are there, isn't it? All living things, large or small, are grouped into species. The area in which an animal, plant or microorganism lives is called its habitat. A wide variety of plants and animals live in a particular habitat known as biodiversity. So what do you mean by biodiversity? It is a variety of plants and animals live in a particular habitat known as biodiversity. So from this picture you can understand vertical range of biosphere on the earth. So from this it is approximately 20 km from the ocean floor. Okay. Next one is the ecosystem. What do you know about this ecosystem? It is a community. What do you mean by this ecosystem? Ecosystem is a community. This is also an important question. What do you know about this ecosystem? An ecosystem is a community where all living organisms live and interact with one another, and also with their non-living environment such as land, soil, air, water, etc. So what do you mean by this ecosystem? Ecosystem is a community. Here, both living organisms and non-living organisms will interact with one another and along with the environment such as land, soil, air, water, etc. So this ecosystem range is size from the smallest unit that can sustain life to the global ecosystem or ecosphere. For example, smallest unit is bark of a tree, and the global ecosystem is cropland, pond ecosystem, forest ecosystem, desert ecosystem, etc. So biosphere harbors all ecosystem on the earth and sustain life forms including mankind. So in this ecosystem, not only plants, animals, but also human beings also have. Next, there is one. Do you know the branch of science? What is called ecology? Ecology means what? The branch of science that deals about ecosystem is called ecology. Who is called as an ecologist? A person who studies ecology is referred to as ecologist. Next heading is components of ecosystem. So an ecosystem consists of three basic components. What are the important three basic components of this ecosystem? This is a very, very important question also. Detailed question also have explain about the components of ecosystem. So this ecosystem consists of three basic components. What are the three basic components? Abiotic component, biotic components, and energy component. So what are the three important components? Abiotic component, biotic component, and energy component. First one, abiotic component. What do you know about this abiotic component? It means non-living organic matters are there. Okay, abiotic components include the non-living, inorganic, physical and chemical factors in the environment. For example, abiotic component. Can you say some example for abiotic component? It is land, air, water, calcium, iron, etc. Next one, biotic components. What do you know about this biotic component? Biotic components include plants, animals and microorganisms. They are the living organisms are called as biotic components. Again, this biotic component is classified into three categories. What are the producers, consumers and decomposers? Producers, consumers and decomposers. So, what do you mean by abiotic component? Once again, I am saying what are the components of ecosystem? There are three basic components of ecosystem. What are they? They are abiotic components, biotic components and energy component. Abiotic components means non-living organisms. What are the non-living organisms? Abiotic components include the non-living, inorganic, physical and chemical factors in the environment. So, what are the examples for the abiotic component? Land, air, water, calcium, iron, etc. Next, biotic component. What do you know about this biotic component? It is the living factors. Okay. Biotic component include plants, animals and microorganisms. Biotic component can be classified into three categories. What are the three categories of biotic component? Producers, consumers and decomposers. What do you know about this producer? Producers means what? Is a self-nourishing component of the ecosystem. Hence, they are called autotrophs. So, what is another name for this producer? It is also called as autotrophs. So, they are found both on land and water. Okay. Producers, what do you mean by producers? Or the self-nourishing component of the ecosystem. They themselves produce the food. Okay. Hence, they are called as autotrophs. They are found both on land and water. Example, plants, algae, bacteria, etc. Consumers. What do you know about these consumers? It is depend directly or indirectly. The producer is called as a consumer. So, they are called as heterotrophs. Producers are called as autotrophs and consumers is called as a heterotrophs. Consumers are those that depend on producers directly or indirectly. Hence, they are called heterotrophs. The common categories of consumers are, again, these consumers are divided into three categories. What are the three categories of consumer? Primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Primary consumers depends on producers for their food. They are exclusively herbivorous. Only they are eating the plant. Okay, plant eating animals. They are called as a primary consumers. So, what do you know about these primary consumers? Primary consumers depend on producers for their food. They are exclusively herbivorous. Example, zebra, goat, etc. Secondary consumers. What do you know about these secondary consumers? Are small carnivorous, that is, they are consume herbivores. Example, lion, snake, etc. They are called as the secondary consumers. Third one is the tertiary consumers or top carnivorous that prey on both herbivorous and carnivorous. This is an example, owl, crocodile. So they will eat both plants and animals. So they are called as the tertiary consumers. Next one is the decomposer. Next, third component of ecosystem is the decomposers or some organisms that are incapable of preparing its own food. So they are unable to prepare their own food. They want to depend on others. So they live on dead and decaying plants and animals. Hence they are called as saprotrophs. Okay, for example, fungus, mushrooms, etc. So what are the component of ecosystem? Three component: abiotic, biotic, and energy component. This abiotic component means non-living inorganic physical and chemical factors in the environment, that is the land, air, water, etc. Biotic component means living organisms. It includes plant, animals, and microorganisms. So again, this biotic component is divided into three, that is producers, consumers, and decomposers. Okay, what do you know about this producer? Producers are self-nourishing component of the ecosystem. So producer is also called as autotrophs. For example, we can say plant, algae, bacteria, etc. Consumers are those that depend on producer directly or indirectly. Hence, they are called heterotrophs. Okay, producers are called autotrophs, consumers are called heterotrophs, and decomposers are called saprotrophs. Once again, I am saying, listen, a producer is also called as autotrophs, consumer is also called as heterotrophs, decomposer is also called as saprotrophs. Okay, what do you know about this decomposer? Decomposers are some organisms that are incapable of preparing their own food. So mostly we can see these decomposers, they live on dead and decaying plant and animal. Hence they are called as saprotrophs. For example, fungus, mushrooms, etc. Okay. Last component is the energy component. Last one is the energy component. What do you know about this energy component? Here, all organisms in the biosphere use energy to work and convert one form of energy into another. Okay. All organisms in the biosphere use energy. Without energy, we can't do anything. For what purpose we need energy? Means to work and convert one form of energy into another. See, the sun is the ultimate source of energy for the biosphere as a whole. So, which is the most important energy for the biosphere? Sun. We all know that sun is the ultimate source of energy for the biosphere as a whole. If there is no sun, we can't live, isn't it? So, the solar energy gets transformed into other form of energy through the various components in the ecosystem. So the producer, consumers and the decomposers contribute a lot to the energy flow in an ecosystem. So that is one question also. Explain about this energy component. All living organisms in the biosphere use energy to work and convert one form of energy into another. So which is the ultimate source of energy? Sun is the ultimate source of energy for the biosphere. The solar energy get transformed into other forms. Solar, from where we are getting the solar energy means from the sun. This energy gets transformed into another form of energy through the various components in the ecosystem. That is, the producer, consumer and the decomposer contribute a lot to the energy flow in the ecosystem. Next one is the functions of the ecosystem. It's also a very important question. See, from this picture, what you understood? It is the food web, isn't it? This rat was eaten by ringtail, many animals. From this picture, it is explained about the functions of the ecosystem or the food web. One will depend on another. Okay. The living organisms form an interacting set of flora and fauna which are organized into trophic level food chains and food webs. The function of an ecosystem depends on the pattern of the energy flow as it helps in the distribution and circulation of the organic and inorganic matter within an ecosystem. Energy flow generally takes place in a hierarchical order in an ecosystem through various levels. These levels are called trophic levels. So, functions of ecosystem. The living organisms form an interacting set of flora and fauna which are organized into trophic levels, food chains and food webs. Some animals will eat only the plant. Some will eat the depend on other animal, isn't it? So some living organism will eat that flora plants. Some fauna means animals. So the functioning of an ecosystem depends on the pattern of the energy flow as it helps in the distribution circulation of the organic and inorganic matter within an ecosystem. So energy flow generally takes place in a hierarchical order in an ecosystem through various levels. These levels are called trophical levels. The chain of transformation of energy form one group of organism to another through various trophic level is called a food chain. What is called food chain? It is the chain of transformation of energy from one group of organisms to another through various trophic level is called a food chain. A system of interlocking and interdependent food chain is called a food web. So what is called a food web? A system of interlocking and interdependent food chain is called a food web. Okay, students. So today Elmar can give some few questions. Learn it thoroughly. Okay. Now take page number 208. Page number 208. Answer the following in brief. Answer the following in brief. Yes, Roman number 3rd, question number 1. Answer the following in brief. First question, what is biosphere? Page number 202. Page number 202. First introduction page, that one. A biosphere, the fourth sphere of the earth, is a light supporting layer that exists on the earth's surface. This layer on earth encompasses the lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. It includes flora and fauna that thrive on or near the earth's surface. Okay. Once again I am reading what is biosphere. That is page number 202 below the introduction para. Biosphere The fourth sphere of the Earth is a life-supporting layer that exists on the Earth's surface. This layer on Earth encompasses the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. It includes flora and fauna that thrive on or near the Earth's surface. Okay, that's all. Second question, what is an ecosystem? That is page number 202 under the heading ecosystem. An ecosystem is a community where all living organisms live and interact with one another and also with their non-living environment such as land, soil, air, water, etc. That's all. Okay. Next, Roman number 4. Give reason for the following. Give reason for the following. That is first question. Producers are also called autotrophs. Give reason. That is page number 203. Page number 203 under the heading biotic components. Second para. Producers are self-nourishing component of the ecosystem. Hence they are called autotrophs. Okay, that's all. Next, second question. Biosphere provides a stable ecosystem. Biosphere provides a stable ecosystem. That is page number 202. Page number 202. Page number 202 under the heading ecosystem from the last third line. Biosphere harbors all ecosystem on the earth and sustain life forms including mankind. Okay, Roman number 4, question number 2. Give reason for the following. Second question. Biosphere provides a stable ecosystem. Give reason. That is page number 202. Under the heading ecosystem, that para from the last third line. Biosphere harbors all ecosystem on the earth and sustain life forms including mankind. Okay. Next, Roman number 5. Distinguish between the following. Distinguish between producers and decomposers. Page number 203. Page number 203. Distinguish between producers and decomposer. Under the heading biotic components, that second para, producer. Okay, producers are self-nourishing component of the ecosystem. Hence, they are called autotrophs. They are found both on land and water. Example, plants, algae, bacteria, etc. Next, decomposers. Under the heading decomposer, that para full. Decomposers are some organisms that are incapable of preparing its own food. They live on dead and decaying plants and animals. Hence, they are called saprotrophs. Example, fungus, mushrooms, etc. Okay. Next, Roman number 6, question number 1. Answer the following in a paragraph. First question. Explain the various components of ecosystem. Explain the various components of ecosystem. That is page number 203. Under the heading component of ecosystem, an ecosystem consists of 3 basic components, namely abiotic component, biotic components, and energy component. So, abiotic component include the non-living, inorganic, physical and chemical factors in the environment. Example, land, air, water, calcium, iron, etc. Biotic components include plants, animals and microorganisms. Biotic components can be classified into 3 categories: producers or self-nourishing components of the ecosystem. Hence, they are called autotrophs. They are found both on land and water. Example, plants, algae, bacteria, etc. Consumers are those that depends on producers directly or indirectly. Hence, they are called heterotrophs. The common category of consumers are primary consumer, depend on producers for their food. They are exclusively herbivorous, example zebra, goat, etc. Secondary consumers are small carnivorous, that is, they consume herbivorous, example lion, snake, etc. Tertiary consumers are top carnivorous that prey on both herbivorous and carnivorous, example owl, crocodile, etc. Decomposers are some organisms that are incapable of preparing its own food. They live on dead and decaying plants and animals, hence they are called saprotrophs, example fungus, mushrooms, etc. Energy components. All organisms in the biosphere use energy to work. And convert one form of energy into another. The sun is the ultimate source of energy. For the biosphere as a whole, the solar energy gets transformed into another form of energy through the various components in the ecosystem. The producers, consumers, and the decomposers contribute a lot to the energy flow in the ecosystem. Okay, so we will explain the various components of ecosystem. Next, second question, write a paragraph on the functions of an ecosystem. Write a paragraph on the functions of the ecosystem. Page number 203, 203, 204. Page number 203, 204, 203. Under the heading functions of an ecosystem, the living organisms form an interacting set of flora and fauna which are organized into trophic levels, food chains, and food webs. The functioning of an ecosystem depends on the pattern of the energy flow as it helps in the distribution and circulation of the organic and inorganic matter within an ecosystem. Energy flow generally takes place in a hierarchical order in an ecosystem through various levels. These levels are called trophic levels. So the chain of transformation of energy from one group of organism to another through various trophic level is called a food chain. A system of interlocking and interdependent food chain is called a food web. That's all today's portion. So please study well. Be thorough with these answers. Okay, next class we can see. Thank you, students.